Welcome everyone to Elevation Call. This is our second Elevation Call of the month. It's our last of the month of January, launching a whole new year. And we're just excited to see you guys. It's super cold in Northwest Arkansas. We are supposed to have an ice storm tonight. So it is a great time, since we're captive, to share this opportunity with other people through technology. And so that's kind of what brings us all together tonight. And I'm excited that you guys are here. We've got a lot of fun things to share with you, but I'm going to have Hal start us off with this powerhouse.
We got a lot of people on the leaderboard here on what's today, the 21st.
Yeah, you guys wait till I'm so proud of everyone on this list. I know a lot of people are working, but let's go ahead and share.
Got new names here. Some of them I can't read your writing, but anyway. Okay. All right. Is that Lois Palmer at number 20 on the enrollment board? That's awesome.
From where, Hal?
Idaho.
First state of Idaho.
That's right. Yes. Yeah. Is that Nancy's mom?
It is.
That's awesome. And then Georgia Chambers in Indiana.
She's a new associate. That's
really proud of
Susan Everett and Linda Joyner's team. So congratulations to Georgia.
Buffalo, New York.
Yeah.
Marcia Smith.
Could
not be anyone else.
Number 18.
Number 18.
Way to go, Marcia Smith, holistic nurse coach.
Linda Joyner at number 12. Marcia's Georgia sponsor. Christina Durham at number 8. As usual on the leading board, that being Christina. And then Hal and Lisa at number 7.
Yep.
Good for us. Kelly Etzel out of Neosho, Joplin-ish, Neosho, Missouri. Is that right?
Kelly is number what? 5.
And she's a new community ambassador as of just this week. That is awesome. Congratulations, yes. Kelly.
Very proud of Kelly in motion. And I think she's really first on the leaderboard from Southern Missouri.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's great. And then Nancy Davis, who called this week and really had an incredible message about her first
month check.
Yeah, she's number 4 on the leaderboard. And the Todds, Steve and Jenny Todd, are number 2 on the leaderboard here in January, and they've had a really exciting, really good week for them. Very, very kind of a long time dream come true for them here. Really,
we're going to circle back to that.
All right, let's jump over to our product board. The Todds again, number 18. Kelly Etzel at number 13. Is that
David Kokenauer?
Kokenauer. I always say that name wrong, but David Kokenauer at number 11. Linda Joyner at number 9. And Paul Miller out of Maryland. I think that's a Dr. Todd sponsorship. Yeah. So anyway, congratulations. That's a bunch of people from our team on the international and national leaderboard with Zalise.
And you guys, we love to track the leaderboard. It is super fun to be on the leaderboard because it really kind of allows you to see, not that we want to compare ourselves to other people, but just are the efforts that you're doing, like where does that rank in the world of Zalise? And I think the message that we have for you in 2024, all the pieces are in place for you to run. And there's times
make money.
And there's times in life and business where timing is very, very important. We've talked about new product launches. We talk about new countries opening. There's times in the life of a business where it is more productive, like there's more return from your efforts. And now is one of those windows. And Kayla said, congrats to all. How many teams are there and regions covered? Really, I'm looking specifically at the US. If you actually go to reports, leaderboard, you can actually look at the global leaderboard. Right now, there's something going on in Peru that is, you want to share about that?
Yeah, so what we saw on the Freedom Call the other night, they put the international board up. Leaderboard, and so much, like an explosion of growth in Peru. And we're like, what's going on in Peru? And so we had a meeting, was it Friday afternoon?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we met with Bo and Luis about a couple of things, Zoom, and they just said it's really simple, guys. There were three or four ladies in Peru who bought into the idea to sponsor 3 golds from the start, to kind of, like message 3 golds from the start, as well as all the other VIPs and different things like that. But they have very few products in Peru, but they said they bought into Bo's teaching on build fast, 3 golds, and then add a gold. So they started that 3 months ago, right?
Just to clarify, that's come in at gold, sponsor 3 golds in month 1, and then in month 2, 3, 4, 5, and forevermore, you just bring in 1 gold.
So that's what Bo has been teaching on his training on the midweeks and different things over the last several weeks. But they had started teaching that, and some ladies believed them. You know, just they just, okay, we're going to believe you. And so not only did they just create an explosion, well, those ladies, according to them, we're not going to, I mean, they're making several $1,000s, like I want to say 3 to 5, right? In Peru from that pattern of action. So, you know, to Kayla's question, the board we just read was the US board, which we've tried to distinguish, since there's been 3 different regions: Latin America, Europe, and US. So
But if you look at who is going to the Rock On,
it's mostly
Latin America.
Of course, it is in Latin America.
It is in Latin America.
So anyway.
It's 1 gold every month after the 3 golds that you sponsor in month 1. Just to be clear on that.
So when you talk about, there's certain times in a business where running fast and running hard, it's kind of critical. And we think that time is now. The money is on the table. And like, they're bringing more money. That was part of our call with Luis and Bo the other day. We just wanted to say, look, we get it. We see that you have been adding and adding and adding payments to the same activities. The big difference is, you know, we've always had the opportunity to enroll gold positions, because those are more typically your business builders, people who want to build, who really have a desire and put the money on the table and say, I want to do this. And, you know, you kind of talk with your money as far as that goes. But they have started paying us more when we enroll everyone. And now that it's kind of hitting a little bit of momentum, it's time for those who want to, no matter what you've done in the past, to say, now is the time for me to really run at this. And there's some momentum being gathered around you. Even if one of those places is Peru, these 3 women have kind of set the pace over there. Right. That all of us are like, wow, how'd they do that? Well, just doing what Bo said to do. I'm going to use another illustration that does not have to do with this, but several years ago, I had lost income. Let me just say that. This was years ago, 30 years ago. I had a new family, and I was like, what am I going to do? Like, what am I going to do? And I came across this neck scarf. It was like August, September. And I figured out what was in it. It was this cooling neck scarf that this guy gave me. And I tore it apart and figured out what was in it, and realized it was these little crystals. And I knew where you get these little crystal polymers that you put in your garden that hold and retain water. And I said, I'm going to go to Walmart and buy some material, and I'm going to make some of these. And so I didn't know how to sew, but we had a sewing machine. So I just stripped all this fabric, put those crystals in, sewed it up, made some of these scarves, took them to a local fair market kind of place where it was really hot, and I sold out of them and made about $2,000. So I was exhausted, but I went back to Walmart and bought a bunch more fabric, washed all the fabric, stayed up all night, made as many as I could. It was time to go, and sold all of those. There was one more day, and so I went back to Walmart, one more day of this fair, went back to Walmart, bought more fabric, made as many as I could, and went back to the fair the next day and sold all of those. And I think I made like $6,000. And 30 years ago, that was a lot of money. Our family needed it. But the point is that was a window of time where I had an opportunity to do that. And I put all my energy and effort into it. No excuse. I'd never done anything like that before. I didn't know how to sew. I figured it out and did it. I'm just saying that this may be for you one of those times where it's time for you to run hard and run fast and do some things you've not done before, and hook your wagon to us and others who are building fast.
And I'm going to call this the spillover effect, because I don't really know exactly what to call it. But what happens when you run in this business, it means that we're talking to more people. But this happened. I joined this company in late 2017, and there was a window where CBD was new. It was prior to the Farm Bill, and I was told to start running. And that just meant me making contacts. We're always nervous about it. You don't know what people are going to say on the other end, but the effort that I did in early 2018, I brought on a friend of mine. Her name is Judy. She lives in Kentucky. She would say herself, she talks way too much and she's not very coachable and trainable, but I adore her. And she had a really good friend whose name was Donna Nunn. And I remember Donna, she invited Donna so Judy jumped in. She just had dental surgery, so she couldn't talk, which was great because then I just got her in the business and she had the resources to get herself in at Gold. She brought her favorite person, Donna. And I remember Donna coming to the first meeting and she was so nervous. She's like, I've done these things before. And I just, I'm just really nervous that I won't succeed. And I'm like, look, no big deal. Just, come check it out. She jumped in at Gold. She ended up turning around and sharing this business with her very good friend, Patty Bugg, who's a realtor in Henderson, Kentucky. Patty shared it with a very good friend of hers who took it to their chiropractor. And their chiropractor it was a man and wife team named the Fergusons. And Linda Ferguson has a brother who's a rock star. In fact, he's such a rock star that I had him in my phone and he was on my chicken list because he was an oral dental implantologist in Kentucky that somebody I had met in Owensboro, Kentucky said he's one of the best entrepreneurs, smartest entrepreneurs he's ever met. So I had him in my phone. I just never contacted him. And so when the Fergusons came in, they contacted their rock star, Linda's brother, Steve Todd, and said, hey, Steve Todd, what do you know about CBD? And the whole story is so funny. Do you know the story?
I know the story.
Tell us what happened when Stephen Todd was asked about this business and he
wasn't all that interested at all.
No.
At all.
In fact, he would not give them his credit card number.
He wouldn't do it. He wasn't going to do it. That was and once he finally did, and then he's maybe I don't go anyway. Long story short is I heard he got word from Zalise that he made $20. This is a guy who done pretty well in his dental practice. He made $20 with Zalise. And he's like, now I'm fired up. I made $20. I'm ready to rock and roll. And they have not stopped since.
Well, and here's what's so funny. And Steve and Jenny are going to correct me if I'm wrong. But you guys, the reason I'm telling you this is for multiple reasons. It's not like the Steve Todd that you hear right now, who's an international rock star. They're
in
doing
Zalise.
Yeah, in Zalise. They're doing 2 opportunity calls on Tuesday, one for the EU, one for the United States. But Steve was like, look, I'm not going to give you my credit card. But what the Fergusons did, because the Todds weren't that interested. They found somebody the Todds knew and called the Todds and said, hey, look, we're going to bring these people in. Do you want to sponsor them or do you want us to sponsor them? And the Todds were okay with just getting in, but they sent them a check because they wouldn't give them their credit card number because they didn't have belief in the opportunity at all. And so it's so funny to look back. So the Todds are literally on our 6th level generationally.
Our 6th level.
So I didn't know him. Of course, I had him in my phone, so I knew him by reputation.
Well, you weren't going to call him.
But I was not going to call him. And the gold in this business can be on your 3rd, your 4th, your 5th. They're going to be in people that you don't know, but you have to start it by running at it.
And sponsoring people yourself. And then helping those people sponsor people and get them engaged, get them involved, help find out. I mean, that's what Lisa was doing. She was running. And that's when we say running, that's a term that we mean to get yourself into significant effort, forward thinking, positive, don't look back, take a run, whether it's take a run for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, 2 months. At a goal, usually we recommend run at this goal with our guidance. Set a goal out there, and we still believe very much, set the goal to earn the Jeep. To get there, there's a couple of really good goals in between that are paying more than they ever have. City especially, yeah. And then this pace setter once you enroll, right. But to build. the pay setter's paying. We never had that. I mean, this is all new payments.
Right.
They're paying so much more, but you still have to, if you don't do the work, they don't pay you anything. They don't pay us to clock in or to
Well,
show up on this call.
the beauty now is that, Steve and Jenny Todd are top leaders on our team. And all of you guys know who they are. I'm going to bring them to the line here in a minute. Steve is part of the medical advisory board. He has also founded the Patriot Board. He is a tremendous resource to this company, to our team, to his team. He is building in globally. In fact, Jenny and Steve, tell us a little bit about your dream
hang
to
on a
sponsor
second.
globally.
Hang on a second before they talk. We've talked about Steve, but I got to tell you, Jenny is the rock star. Jenny is she's the power behind this couple, 100%. Steve gets all the glory, but Jenny, I'm telling you, Jenny is the magic, 100%. So
I'm turning it over to you guys. Tell us a little bit about your story. Why is the lease? You guys, we owe y'all so much for your leadership in this business and on our team.
Well, I certainly like to set the record straight here. Jenny is the glue that holds this whole wagon together here. Just to let you know that real quick. So that's a fact. She's very organized, and she's just been my soulmate for 6 years. And we just I don't know, she just keeps us together, keeps it going. She's I don't know. We you know what, Lisa, we just sort of make the calls, and we really don't look around to see who's done what, where, when. We just want to get it done and sponsor people. And I really don't spend much energy if you're not interested, because I'm just moving on. And I do it real fast. I don't, we just don't, there's not enough time in the day to drag people around. So I'm really ready to move on quickly. But it's, I don't know. It's an adventure. I look at it as a great adventure. Just going to Cancun is a big adventure, right? Going down there.
It absolutely is. Now, did I do justice to kind of the story of how you guys were onboarded?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
But it wasn't Steve, it was Jenny.
Yeah.
Okay. And first of all, I'm going to say, I am so humbled, Lisa. There are so many people on this Zoom tonight that have tremendous stories. And I'm just very humbled, by your words, and just appreciate it so much. But, Steve will do anything. He'll do anything. If it's different and new, he'll do anything. So Linda called that night, and Steve's going, they've got this other person, da, 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 da. Do you want Steve and Jenny to sponsor them, or do you want them to go? So Steve wanted to do it. Again, he would jump off the planet if, there was an event. Well, that is an adventure, but anyway. So I said, I'm not giving him the credit card. I wrote a check for $214.62, and I mailed it to Linda. So, so that's the end of the story, but of that story. So you did get that right, Lisa. But, again, I'm just so humbled, because we're not where we want to be, but we just don't quit. You just don't quit. And, when you're on these calls sometimes, and please don't take this the wrong way, y'all, but I'm just going to be honest. You're on these calls and everybody's always so happy and smiling and whatnot. There's times, y'all, when I get I get pissed, and I get tired. I just get tired of people saying no, and I get frustrated. But I'm just trying to be honest, and it's not all roses. I get frustrated. I get mad at people. Why don't they see this? Da, 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 da. But we've never quit. That's the biggest thing I can say. You just never, ever, ever quit. Never quit, and we've just had some things that are just exciting and taken off. And I don't know, they just kind of came out of the blue, but they were meant to be. But my biggest thing is just don't quit. It is worth everything you go through, everything. You just don't quit.
Well, I think that, too, you're going to go through life, and you're going to have friends, you're going to have acquaintances, you're going to have people come in and out of your life. We've all had friends that were friends when we were 40, 50s. Now we don't see them, right? I mean, it's all part of life cycle. And I think in this in our story is that you know, we have some wonderful friends in Zalise, and I want them to be our friends. You can pick choose a few friends. Can't really pick your family too much, but the point is that you know, you make friendships with people in the business, and then you bring people that we sponsor. We want them to be our friends too. But some people aren't going to hang around long enough to do that, and we're moving on. That's just a fact, and I don't. And that's the way those people are too. They're moving on. So but you have a few friendships that you make and establish, and we've got some wonderful friends in Zalise, and I think that also the fact that the corporation has, you know, pulled themselves up with some quality people in the last year or so. There's really, I think a big deal. They're just great folks, and I don't know, when was the last time, you know, a corporation ever asked you your opinion on anything? Right? I don't remember Amazon ever asking us anything or whatever, right? So it's just a wonderful, wonderful connection, and everybody here should partake and let's watch this thing grow. Now, it's not going to be fast, don't get me wrong, but I don't know anybody that's had a business that's taken off from day one and done this and that and the other. So it's just part of a business, you know.
Okay.
Anyway.
And I like to finish on this note, you know, I can't ever do a meeting without kudos and thank yous to Hal and Lisa.
Yeah, absolutely.
They are tremendous leaders. They're there for us through thick and thin. Lisa answers a text message like you never believed. She's right there. We're just so blessed to be on their team, and I just thank them for all their energy and efforts that they do for everybody on this call. They're just amazing leaders. So thank you, Hal and Lisa. And thank you for letting us share. Hey, I gotta add this. We had our 12th grandchild Thursday. No, excuse me, Friday. It was Friday. Friday. Yeah, number 12. Everybody's doing well.
Iris May.
Awesome.
How is it that you guys only look like you're 40 years old and you've been married for, like, you know, 60 years or however long?
46 years.
46 years.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah. Some days you look better than others, right?
Well, and you know, I wanted to shout out because you guys had a dream about building this business globally. And you've done countless numbers of European freedom calls. Like, I mean, you guys have hosted the opportunity in Europe over and over again. Steve, Todd, you have been very instrumental in helping Latin America understand the products that they have. You've done a lot of product trainings. And just this month, you guys had a breakthrough. Tell us what happened.
Well, we met a really great gal. And
how'd you meet Angie?
Oh, Angie, let me
Your
think.
hypnotherapist.
Oh, yeah. I just finished a hypnotherapy course. And for my practice.
He doesn't even know what he just did.
Yeah, you know, it's an adventure, guys. It's just an adventure, right? I figured I could communicate with people better if I understood what that was and why you do it and all that. So met Angie through that, and she's Colombian. And I said, hey, would you be interested in looking at the Latin American market? And she said, yeah.
And I apologize, y'all. I hope y'all aren't going, oh, y'all just close your mouth. But he met Angie it was the last day of the class. They've been doing this for 6 months. And you asked her about.
Well, we were practicing.
But you asked her about CBD or something. How did that come up?
Well, I just asked her if she'd be interested in expanding a CBD business to Colombia.
Okay, but this was their last practice session. Angie got in as a founder in Bogota, and she has enrolled her brother as a founder in Bogota, and she has 7 siblings. It's just.
And they were all hypnotized in it. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, so here's the deal. So you make it sound like Steve said, hey, how would you like to consider opening up CBD in Colombia? And 10 minutes later, she enrolled as a founder. That's not how it went. There were multiple calls, many conversations, got Luis involved, got Lisa involved. I even listened in on one of those calls just so I could understand what was going on. Could barely understand her. Strong. I mean, she got good English, but very heavy English. But y'all, you know, you were just persistent, consistent, followed up, followed through. So you made it sound like you snapped your fingers and it happened, but it was multiple contacts.
Oh, yeah.
Multiple glitches, you know, with the back office getting these, you know, just confusions on different things. I mean, it
forgot
just
about that.
happened.
Oh, yeah.
And you
I
guys,
forgot about that. Yeah.
yeah, we didn't forget about it. We were involved in all of it, you know, but you saw it through. And while there were struggles in Europe where you guys are trying to do some things, you have one founder followed by another founder. And it's just like you said, never quit, just stay persistent.
Mhm.
I read something today that said persistence is the secular term for faith.
Mhm.
I like that.
Mhm.
Persistence is the secular term
Yeah.
for the practice of faith. And I think that's probably pretty accurate.
I
Faith
think
practice.
everybody on this call, you know, has shown that persistence, and if they just hang in there, it'll work. I mean, it works for us a little bit here and there, and it'll work for everybody on this call. It just will, you know.
Well, we're so proud though, you know, just to see not just persistence, but resilience. Resilience means when you're frustrated, when you feel like, you know, cussing somebody out, scratching eyeballs out, when you feel like, you know, you're frustrated with glitches and people aren't answering the phone and you feel like people are laughing at you and it's getting back up and making another phone call. I mean, that's true resilience. You know, we've been through dark times together. So seeing you guys number 2 on the leaderboard, you satisfied your $4.99 productivity requirement, blew that away by sponsoring one founder. And you guys, then we started looking at your volume and you are just right at just crossing over the area ambassador volume. And you guys are going to be the first to get a leadership advancement bonus on our team. And
Aw.
I'm so freaking
Cool.
proud of you guys. And I was like, hey, man, Jenny has a need for some, well, we won't say it out loud, Jenny, what you're working for there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Unless
you
you
know,
want to
that's
share.
another thing. You know, Jenny's just so dogmatic and persistent. You know, the glitches in signing somebody up internationally can just take forever. I mean, forever. And so she hangs in there with it. She does. I mean, so it's and the same thing goes on in Europe. You try to sponsor somebody, and you know, then you get them to enroll them, and then the next thing you know, you can't because the glitches, right? They can't do it. So yeah, it's
And kudos to Shannon Tolan.
yeah, Shannon.
Shannon
Oh my God.
Tolan is unbelievable.
She's unbelievable.
She's unbelievable. She
Is. And
was
so this is a really good point. And I've heard Lisa emphasize this over and over to people. And for some reason, they just don't hear her. So I'm going to say it. Anytime you have an opportunity to enroll anyone as a VIP, a bronze, silver, gold, go back to where we started, which many of you never had the paperwork. It's always been there. We just said, go to the computer. Get if you're not if you plan to enroll people, you need to be familiar with what's on the enrollment forms, what it takes to enroll someone, what their name is, what their address is. You're going to have to get, if they're going to do a business, you're going to have to get their social. If they're going to be a VIP customer, you don't have to have their social, but they're going to get a website. They need to decide what they want for that. Get that on paper, get it on paper, and do not enroll them on the computer while they're on the computer with you, because half the time it's you either create an error, which causes the system to stop, or the system itself has a glitch. It's just the nature of humans and machines. So I'm going to say it again. Get the information on paper, take it offline to enroll them. And if it takes you 3 tries in 2 days to get them enrolled, they won't know any different. But if you sit there and try to enroll them 3 different times in front of them and it's not working, that is not a good start. So Lisa, I have heard Lisa say that over and over and over again to our ambassadors. And then we'll get a call and say, we can't get them enrolled. We got them right here on the computer and it won't go through. We can't figure out why. And what we're saying is get them off the computer, get their information. You start plugging it in. If you have a problem, do a support ticket or call us. There's no emergencies, but it feels like an emergency when they're sitting there in front of you and you're getting a glitch on your computer, or you're entering something wrong because you haven't done it very much. And again, we're trying to help you out with this, but I'm going to emphasize it because I've heard Lisa say it so many times and people still say, we tried to enroll someone and they were right here with us and it just was so embarrassing. And we're like,
manage the process.
manage the process. So
And
Well,
Hal, thank you for bringing that up because, I learned that this week, by this founder. I mean, it was just, it was just very stressful. And so I've learned that this week from Lisa. And thank you very much, Lisa, for just being the tremendous teacher that you are. And I've learned that through that. So thank you very much.
Well, Jenny and Steve, I want to thank you for being the person who has to be held back and never pushed.
that's right.
You guys, and I want y'all, anyone who's taken notes, write this down. You want to be the person who does not have to be pushed to make contacts, to do three-way phone calls, to enroll people. You want to be held back, right? You want to be working hard.
You want to be
smart.
frustrated with glitches in
Yeah,
enrollment.
be frustrated, man.
Yeah.
There's money in it.
Don't be frustrated with why you can't make money when you've only contacted 20 people in the last 2 years. It's not going to work that way. It's just not going to work that way.
But I want you to think about the first quarter right now is the time to run. And I want to shout out Beth and Greg Plumley. Beth is on.
No, Cassie,
I see her on. Yeah. So Beth, I want to shout out to you also because we were going to do a live relaunch for Beth. And if you haven't heard her story, I'm going to post it eventually on Team Unlimited. But we were going to do a live meeting. It was projected to be bad weather in Northwest Arkansas on Thursday night. So Beth goes, what do you want to do? We don't cancel meetings, guys. All we did is shifted to Zoom, and then we expanded it to all of Team Unlimited, and we were able to record that meeting. And so I wanted to shout out to Beth for saying, I'm going to host it anyway. She actually did the presentation. She did the first part of it. Hal, thank you for doing the business part of it.
That was fun.
But anybody who really, hasn't done a launch, I want you to reach out to us because there's a lot of learning in how to actually tell your story, how to actually kind of go over the PowerPoint, present the slides. That's what they do on Tuesday night at 8:00 Central. That's the opportunity presentation. We have to be really familiar with in our own back office. But Beth, great job on that. I was really proud of your courage. And those of you guys who are doing this on a regular basis, I want to shout out to you as well. We were on the Zoom with Beth, and I know several of our team was on as well, which is wonderful that we can, and we did this on a Thursday night. So as the weather is bad, I'm totally open to helping do more, hosting more collective team events where we can actually together bring people on and walk through the opportunity. It's done for us on Tuesdays at 8 by corporate, but if that would help you, then let's talk collectively. Also wanted to shout out to Christina. She is on the leaderboard, and Christina, our hearts just go out to you and Chris with just, the tragedy that has happened with Chris's mom and his loss. As somebody who has lost my mom, my heart just goes out to you guys, and Christina's still on the leaderboard.
Yeah, look at her.
Badass.
Right there.
Just saying.
Tough.
And so really anybody else, let me just kind of summarize, and then I'd love to hear from you guys. What I'd love to hear is just the things that you're proud of yourself for. We've talked about courage. We've talked about consistency. We've talked about persistence, and we've talked about resilience. So if you have a little story of what you've done this week, just overcoming yourself. This is a business platform that for you to move forward means you're overcoming yourself. That's the best part about it. But I'm so proud of you guys. So do the work. The work this month is at least $299, or if you're area and above, it's $499 in personal dollar sales that you sponsor. You're going to sponsor either one or several kits that equal that. Number one. Number two, everyone has to have at least a 50 BV auto ship. So the way we talk about it is, look, you need a product experience for no less than 90 days. So let us give you something free at the end of 90 days. And let's, put together a 3-month proposal as to how we're going to fuel your endocannabinoid system. And that's usually the way that I say it
For product users.
for product users.
But, we're not changing what we've always done. We recognized probably 2 years ago that because of the situation that many of you are very closely aware of, and some of you have just become aware of, with Zalise corporate, with leadership there that's now changed, that we were not really in a business that though we had great products, that we just weren't seeing people make money, and we didn't honestly have an excitement about people being able to make money. And we were that way for about 2.5 years, but we've hung in and hung in and hung in. And so therefore we put a lot of emphasis on helping people become product users at the littlest amount of money possible to get them started. So we've worked very hard on the front end to get people to become product users. And that was our emphasis because it was the best thing we had to offer. Well, I think now with Angie taking over the company, with the new corporate leadership, with the new promotion, the financial promotionals that they have been building one upon the other, it is a new day in Zalise for making money. And we're literally seeing some new people who've come into our business begin to make a little bit of some of the money that we saw when we first started. And it's not where it's going to be. It's not where we want it to be yet because the momentum hasn't hit. But for those, the 90-day product deal is very, very important for use. But I can tell you that many of you know people who want to earn income and don't need to wait 90 days to earn income.
Right.
Flat out. You can do it by building with people who understand business and already have that, who are ready to go and who are looking like I was. I wasn't looking for a health product. I was grateful for the health product. What I knew was I needed to generate an income that I did not have. And I was ready to run at that. I was very fortunate that the product was wonderful and continues to be. So anyway.
No, and I want to also just say thank you to Hal. He did a phenomenal job with the business presentation as part of Beth's Thursday launch. And so if you did not see that, I actually posted it under the elevation call announcement for tonight. I really want you guys to check it out and get familiar with it because in our period of running now, it is time to look for people who understand business and, aren't freaked out by creating distribution on a broader scale. And so Kayla says, I need suggestions on strong bullet points to point out what makes the least business plan different from other multi-marketing companies. Absolutely. Wednesday, Bo on Next Level Training will go over how to share the business. So definitely he was going to do it last week and he got snowed in a blizzard, got stuck in a blizzard.
He
So
couldn't even get home.
couldn't get home.
4-foot snow.
The
It was
only
rough.
reason I'm asking is I'm finding out that Western Pennsylvania was heavily hit by Amway, and many people in the area, they lost everything, and for some reason, Western Pennsylvania was heavily hit by the scam. And
Gotcha.
boy, I hear it everywhere, every day.
Well, and so definitely be on Wednesday at noon. Listen to Bo. Anyone that knows Amway, it's Bo. For sure. I don't know about you guys, but a lot of times we attract our negative stuff between our ears. And when I first started in this space, I used to get all of that all the time. Like, is this one of those, like, is this Amway? Is this like, no. Since the pandemic, I never hear it.
Never heard it.
Never, ever hear it.
We literally finished the last three. Let me just say this. We finished the last 3 years at the top of the national and international leaderboard on enrolling new people. And I don't think I've heard, is this that Amway scheme? I don't think I've heard it in 3 years, not one time.
Well,
So I'm just saying that we don't experience that because we don't think that way. And so I think Lisa's right. We do have very clear distinctions from other direct selling businesses in many ways. However, the idea that any direct selling business is a multi-level scam pyramid is completely 100% inaccurate. And we have to hold that stance because it's true, number one. But number two, all these things are always rolling around out there, and we're going to attract what we think.
Yeah,
Always.
absolutely.
So
you got to work through that yourself. Steve and Todd just kind of shared a little bit about how he deals with people who don't see things our way. He's just like, next.
Hey,
So-
Lisa, I'd like to share a minute, and I apologize. Our daughter is showing, we're looking at our new grandbaby, so.
Oh my
my
gosh.
goodness, get out of here.
But listen, I want to tell you, I just want to say, Lisa, you just talked about what's between your ears. That's what you got to get through. And I have several just books that we read and whatnot, but Hal on one of these calls suggested a daily devotional book, and it's Day by Day with James Allen.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, y'all. Kayla, you just said something about whatever you said. I went to there's a certain day in this book that I knew would help you. I just start off with day one, the beginning of every month. This book is incredible, and it's in a language that you could understand. It's a page and a half. You don't have to read a whole chapter or something. I love this devotional. I just at the beginning of the month start over just
Thank
every day. It is awesome.
I know somebody else that does
I
that.
read it every day, and I've read it now many, many months, day after day after day. And I see that I just need to be reminded we are bent toward, the world bends us toward the negative. And, we have to resist that. And one of the ways we can do it is have a discipline of daily thought that begins early in the morning. And that's why I suggested that book. So thank you for bringing that up, Jenny.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, I used to think that this was just a black and white, business, but what you're going to find for people who stick with this and really take it seriously, it's not about the income that you generate. It's about the person and the mindset that you develop through this journey. And that's, I've actually been working on a new PowerPoint, and some of you guys know this, just because we've had such tremendous life changes from Zalise, the platform, not just the product. And sometimes I feel like I'm not very good at being a spokesperson for what this company has done for me. And so I started like, I'm going to take this on. We did a great webinar on the product right before the end of the year. And I wanted to do just the same thing for the business. And I will invite you guys to that when we get it down. But I've got all the stats. We've got, stats that will make you cry about how people by the age of 65, 95% of them are dead broke, or still dependent on welfare. 95%. It's depressing. So people, let's say 50 and up, what are you going to do to generate income? Are you going to go to Walmart? I mean, what are you going to do? We are out of runway. And so my hope is to really be able to explain how people can get healthy, fuel their endocannabinoid system, and take back their life by using the Zalise platform. And so my goal, Kayla, is to be able to show people why we are not Amway and why this is another option, just like a side gig. This is just a side gig. It's an option. The direct selling industry is not small. So I want to make all of us better advocates and representatives so that we can explain to people, like, what makes this legit? Why is this not a Ponzi scheme? Those are illegal. So great question. Great conversation.
I think probably Wednesday, if I have some bullets for my gun, as I'll say it, I am positive and with people, but at least it'll give me some credibility if I can talk to them about facts, especially
Absolutely.
police. And I need that information to succeed.
Well, I will tell you this, and just really, nobody was more surprised than they were, but we have had 2 brand new ambassadors in their first month that have taken action, started talking to people, that have generated over $800 in their first check. So that's real money, and that's just the beginning. So, nobody can tell me this is not legit. And so anyway, just that's why you guys, for the business, oftentimes, if somebody's just open, let me or Hal help you with the conversation. because nobody can tell us that we haven't generated, you know, a very significant amount of income with Solis over the last 7 years.
The person, let me encourage everyone with this. The person that is ready to, that is going to be fun and enjoyable for you to work with moving forward, if you have a fun, enjoyable, you know, outlook on it, you can't keep them out. They're going to be, I mean, you won't be able to keep them out of doing this. Now, you know, they may wear you out because they're so more ready to make something happen even than you are. But you can't say it wrong. You're not going to get it wrong. Not really. I mean, sure, there's P's and Q's and dots and diddles and cross and T's and all that stuff that you can get all bogged down in. But the reality is that people are looking for additional income. People are, like Lisa said, really looking. Just because maybe you haven't found them yet, people are looking to feel better. People are looking for a group of people like this to hang out with.
Yeah.
Maybe not every other Sunday night, but you know, they just don't know yet. But to do things with, to build relationships with, people need what we do, and they're looking for it. I mean, just like Chris and Christina, the first people that they put the message out to about their tragedy this week was us. You know, I mean, we didn't even hardly know them 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But we are close with them now. And, you know, that's what it's about. That's what it's about. And it will be that way for you as you move forward with other people that are looking for what, you know, what you bring to them. So anyway.
Absolutely. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And thank you for the conversation, Kayla. It's always great conversation. So Linda Christensen says, I have a number of people that I want to introduce, just need the first step.
There you go. Tell them what it is, Lisa.
So there's a lot of information on that. And I'm gonna tell you that Bo Short has done a phenomenal job on his next level training. They're all recorded. This is where part of it is learning what other people have said as their first opening. And part of it is knowing what you feel comfortable saying. If you ask every single person on this call, they might have a little different way of opening the conversation with people. And so I believe it's a little personal. And if somebody wants to share that, you'll see how many different perspectives there are. You know, a lot of it is, are you inviting somebody to an event? Are you inviting somebody to a launch call?
To a next conversation.
To a next conversation.
To watch a video. There's and you have the certain one that you like to use.
Yes.
In those situations if people are open. You know, there's probably a half a dozen single things that a person can do.
I think what we heard Stephen Todd say was, would you be interested in looking at expanding the CBD business in Columbia? Like, so it was a very direct question, but when you're talking about the project, I like to say we're expanding our business in Bella Vista. Would you be open to hearing about it? I'm hosting an event at blah, blah, blah. And you know, you're one of the most entrepreneurial people I know. You're one of the most successful business people I know. I would love for you to see this and see if anyone comes to mind that might be helped by it. And so if you can genuinely just ask a very simple question and then close your mouth and listen to what they say, it's much more important the questions that you ask rather than the information that you give, which takes some pressure off of new people.
And I would say to you, all of you, what question would you like to be asked? All things that you consider that you know right now about Solis. What would you like for someone to ask you? For example, would you like for someone to say to you, if you didn't know anything about this, something like, hey, we're looking for people to help us expand a business that's built around helping people feel better with their health and also generate some income? Or would you be interested in hearing about how some friends of mine and I are expanding an opportunity to generate just another, you know, revenue income stream? Or Would you be interested in hearing about how we can help other people change their lives with their health or their income? Would you be interested in that? I mean, what feels good to you? Say what feels good to you, even if it's wrong. I mean, I made so many mistakes in the beginning. I said things wrong, honestly wrong. Calling Zalise means bliss. It doesn't mean bliss. It means multiplying nutrition. I thought that they were growing their hemp in Kentucky and making it in Indiana. I didn't even know how to make it, but I earned my Jeep in the first month being wrong. Not trying to be wrong. I wasn't trying to misrepresent. I just was like enthusiastic about what we were doing. And I've pretty much remained that way.
Yeah.
Except for a few months when our former CEO wasn't doing right. But anyway,
Well, that was the dark time.
that was a dark time.
Let me give you one more question. And some of you guys have heard me say this before, but I was in a direct selling business 13 years prior to Zalise. And I remember just feeling like I would write down scripts and because they were big on scripts, like having a script. What are you going to say? Like a telemarketing script. And one of their scripts was 4 pages long. And I'm like, I did not grow up to be a telemarketer. It felt
I'd
so
gag on it.
wrong
I
to
would
me.
gag.
And so the one question that I could remember that made me feel like I could say it without, cracking up, like I was trying to be someone else, was if there was a significant amount of money on the table, do you ever keep your eyes open for projects outside of school teaching, education? I would say to you, Linda, C. So if there was a significant amount of money on the table, do you ever keep your eyes open for projects outside of what you're currently doing or not? And I would force myself to ask people that question and then shut my mouth, because a lot of times people want to fill the dead space with talk.
The person who asked the question wants to answer it for other people.
And so you got to really discipline yourself to ask a question and then close your mouth and let somebody genuinely answer that. So all of these are options. You're going to find your voice in this business. It's one of the great things. Yeah. Would you
Yep.
say?
Would you repeat that again, Lisa, please?
If there was a
Did you hear me?
significant, yes, if there was a significant amount of money on the table, do you ever
I
keep
got that.
do you ever keep your eyes open for projects outside of X or not?
Whatever they're doing.
Whatever they're doing.
If they're a nurse, if they're a teacher,
Okay.
if they're a banker, if they're a
Dentist.
She's a
football
real
coach.
estate agent, the one I can think of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Great.
Okay.
Good question.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
got one small request. This has nothing to
ma'am.
do with Zalise, but my friend's daughter just had a new baby and that baby's struggling to breathe. And I would just like everybody to just say a little prayer to be with him. His name is Will. He's a week old now and he's on a ventilator, and that, praise the Lord that will be off soon. So just everybody say a little prayer for him.
Pray
my
for
dear
Will.
friend.
Thank
Yes,
you for
thank you.
Thank you for that, Linda. We are trust me, this is a bunch of praying and believing people.
Wonderful. Thank
awesome.
you.
Thank you for sharing that with us. We're also praying for Christina. We're praying for Chris. How are you guys?
We're doing okay for right now. This week we'll really get into it with the first day of the week being tomorrow. Just got a lot of bases to start touching. And then once we get through that, say some prayers. We got a lot of cleanup to do this week as well. So we're just trying to get as much of, try to get all that done by the end of the month. But fortunately, with a business like we have and the connections that we make, as long as you're doing what you have to do early enough in the month, you can just continue to touch base here and there with what you need to finish up at the end of the month. So I'm coming for you guys at number 7. I'm not done yet.
Okay, man. Bring it.
Bring it. Bring it.
Bring
Love
it, baby. Bring
Love
it.
that mindset.
We're all going for number 2.
Hey,
Steve and
everybody
Jenny.
ought to be going for number 1. Why not go for number 1? Just go
There
for
you
it.
go.
And
Number
here's
1.
the other thing, guys.
Everybody.
Latin America is really, really growing right now. So if you know anyone who speaks Spanish that has ties to Latin America, you definitely want to ask them if they would be open to listen to what's going on.
I have a very good friend of years past that lives in Costa Rica. And I have to locate her phone number again, but that's the first person who came to mind when you mentioned, you know, just another person in another world. So I'm
Yep.
gonna reach out to her.
Make your list, Linda. We'll help you with
Oh, I've
that.
got it. It's going.
Awesome.
Thank you, guys. Have a good evening.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and stop recording. And if anyone else has a